Hey everyone, I'm Jared Samuels,
And I'm Jordan Pouncey.
Hi, I'm Yolanda Ngarambe.
and
I don't know if I was
yeah,
supposed to say.
today we're bringing you the. Oh no, that's okay. Um, you know what? Yeah, let's roll with it. How are you doing today?
Good. Yeah, good.
Well, for those of you that don't know, Yolanda is a professional runner for the Atlanta Track Club, um, and so welcome to the show. So,
Thank
Jordan,
you.
you ready for that first question?
Yeah,
Start with that.
welcome, Yolanda. Um, our first question: we saw you grew up in Sweden. You're from Sweden. Can you tell us what it's like to be from a country like that?
Uh, I guess if it regards to running, then uh, I come from a different experience, I think, than American runners because when you go to school in Sweden, you don't run for your school, like you run for a club. So you can run for a club when you're 10 years old, or you can be 15 years old. It doesn't really matter your age. So I didn't have the high school experience where you know, run for your school and have like this team spirit thing. So when I came to the US for college, I got a whole new experience, like running for a team and not just running for myself.
Mm.
Yeah.
When did you get into running, and what was your training like? From a young age all the way up until you came to America.
I started running like every day or like consistently. I think when I was 15, my first year of high school, but we only go 3 years, so I guess as a sophomore of high school. And my training, I ran like nothing. Like I ran like I don't know, like 20 miles a week. No, I know less, like 15 to 20. More like sprint stuff. Didn't really do mileage. I was always like I didn't want to be injured, and all the girls that ran a lot, I was always like, ugh, they're too like type A for me, whatever. Like I thought I was cool, but really, I don't think I was. I just like was lazy. So I didn't run that much, and I trained for the 800 basically. Um, but I felt like I was really serious. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be an Olympian. I'm so serious, but I really wasn't. But I always knew I wanted to go to school in the U.S. for college because I there's this idea where all of us in Sweden, not all of us, but many of us were like, if you want to make it in running, you have to go to the U.S. because like at all the like world championships and stuff, they're always like Americans in the top. So there's this idea that you had to go to US to be good. At least that's what I had, so that's why I came to the US.
hmm And when you came to the U.S., what did that transition look like for you? I think I read you attended the University of Vermont.
hmm
So what was that transition like from the Sweden competitive running world that you talked about, where you're, with a club,
hmm
over to the university?
Um, I actually was surprised how I thought going to US was going to be this like crazy thing. Like I thought it was like going pro kind of. So I thought that everyone on the team wanted to be like the best in the world. Uh, I was like ready for like boot camp. And when I came to UVM, everyone was really relaxed and like chill. And like some people just ran for fun, you know. Like I thought everyone was gonna be like, I'm gonna be an Olympian or something. So it was different. I was surprised, and the training wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be. But I also didn't realize it depends on what type of school you go to. Like I don't know how other schools are, but let's say I went to like Oregon or something. Maybe it's different there. I don't know. My school was more like everyone loved running, but it wasn't like it was their main goal to be a runner. Like I was almost there more for running than school, like academics. And that's not how it was on my team.
hmm
But I really enjoyed it because I made like really good friends and like it made running really fun. So I feel like I always enjoy running a lot. And I think I got it from like UVM because we just like had fun and we trained hard and we raced, but it wasn't this like intense, like serious thing. So yeah, that was my transition.
What about that experience made you want to go into professional running?
I just felt like when I was done with college, I wasn't done with running. Like I felt like my mileage wasn't high, and I felt like I wasn't doing everything that I could to be really good. And I also have always wanted to live the like pro running lifestyle, which maybe some people think is boring, but like I wanted to like wake up, go for a run, take a nap, do it again, you know. So I just
Mhm.
felt like I wasn't close to done with running when I was done with college. I just sad like, oh, now college is over, but I need to keep running. So
Okay.
Mhm.
You say you like the way a professional runner lives. Can you take us through your typical practice day?
yeah, I mean, most time it's like, oh, I wake up, go for the run. I like to eat breakfast and then go for a run before, and then eat lunch. Like I like to do if I have only one session, I want to do before lunch. I kind of like having that schedule, and then usually maybe I take a nap or something, and then it's hard after my run. It depends how tired I am. Sometimes I don't do anything special. Maybe hang out with someone or something, or if I have a double, like in, in like on my team and on track club, our hard days are really hard. So those days are long. It's like wake up, go do the hard workout, then you go to lift, and then maybe you go home, try to recover a little bit, then you go for a run again. And those days go by really quick. So half the week goes by like poof, like that. And then half the time it's kind of slow and there's a lot of free time to like do something, but you still have to do something that's not too like wild. You don't want to be too tired.
Yeah.
So
Mhm. How many hard days a week do you all have?
Uh, either we go from two tough workouts a week or three, uh, and then we'll have a long run. So I would say 3 to 4 tough days a week.
Mhm.
And my coach really is like, when it's tough, it's tough. When it's easy, it's easy. So most of the time we do 2 hard workouts. When it's 3, it's like a big week. So
Mhm.
I don't know if I could do 3
Um,
all the time.
yeah. Why did you ultimately decide on the Atlanta Track Club? And like, how do your teammates on the club like help and inspire you to be better?
Uh, I actually knew the coaches of the track club before I joined and before they actually were hired by the track club. Andrew and Amy Begley. I met them after college because they wanted to train like athletes who weren't really like winning nationals, but who had potential. Like I never went to nationals in college, but I knew I wanted to run, so they were looking for those type of runners. So I met them and we got along. It's kind of complicated, but like then I went home to Sweden. I thought I was gonna move home, but then I really liked their training. So when I heard that they were hired by Atlanta Track Club, they were like, "Do you want to come and join this new team?" And I was like, "Okay." So that's kind of how I found the club. And then, yeah, I mean, it's so nice having a team when you're a pro too. Like I could never run alone every day or without having teammates. That's kind of why I returned to the US because I had more teammates here than in Sweden. Like I didn't like going to practice in Sweden. It was like 2 people there or something. I like having
Mm.
like a full team. It just makes it more fun, and I think that's why I still run because I have fun with it. Uh, so yeah, having teammates is important because I think it makes it more enjoyable.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Um, so, do you have like a pre-race routine that you think might be helpful to other runners? Like, or is every runner like individual? Like, I think a lot of in team sports, a lot of people have the same routines, and the whole
Mhm.
team goes through a routine. In running, it might be a little different. So, can you talk about that?
Yeah, I would say I guess it's individual, but what I would say, my advice is that whatever you want to do on your race day, like the warm up and stuff, or how you spend your day, I would say try to make it similar to every hard workout you do a week. So for me, that means I do the exact same warm up for race day as for a tough workout. The only thing I change is like strides or something, and then maybe I eat a bit earlier. But even the last, so when I work out, for example, I always eat like a sandwich with peanut butter and banana or honey, and I do the same thing for a race because I know my body's used to that. And so I try to keep the last 3 hours before a race similarly to it would be if I was going to go and do something really hard on the track. So I would say my advice
Mhm.
is to find a routine that works and then use it for race day. So because when you're nervous on that stuff, you don't have time to think and like make a new routine. So just I would say stick to the same. Create a routine that you enjoy, you like, and works for you, and then just do it like every week before tough workouts, and then especially in racing, because when you race, you have so many thoughts about other things that I don't want to waste time thinking, when should I eat this and when should I start warming up? So that's what I do. Keep it.
They just want to keep it real consistent.
And when you get to that race and it's coming down to the last couple hundred meters, and you're gassed, you feel like you can't go anymore. How do you deal with that? Like, do you reach deep down, and how do you pull that last couple hundred meters out? How does that how do you deal with difficult parts of the race mentally?
I feel like I became better at that this year, actually. But I probably don't. I don't know if I know the answer, but I just I've realized a lot of your performance is in that last 100 meters. Like before, I used to think, okay, I went out really hard, now I'm dying. But at least I was gutsy. And not that I would give up, but I feel like I would just be okay with that, like pain. It's like kind of slowed down. And now I just like really want to get everything out in the race. So when it's 100 meters left, usually these days I catch someone at that point. If I'm not really like hitting a wall and dying. But most times now, that's where I make a move. Just because I like you have to like run through the line. You always get someone in the end. And I think for me, what makes me that like like that takes over the pain, because I just really want to win, maybe just want to beat that person in front of you. I just want to make sure that I'm racing the whole time, even through the line, because like you can lean in the 800 and the 15, like it's not just 100 meters where you lean and you're like, yeah, like you can lean in a 5K. I mean, I just think you should always run through the line. You never know what can happen. And I never, and I guess sometimes there's different motivation. It can be a time or just wanting to win. Sometimes even money. If like top 3 gets money, like I'm gonna run through the line and see if I can get third.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just don't want to like leave a race and just suffer like 90% of it, and then you leave that last 100. I guess. Yeah. Good answer.
You talk about in those last 100 meters, you try to break through the wall, even when you're tired. When you've hit a wall, you got to try to break through it. How do you avoid plateaus in your training that make you push through those walls?
I mean, I don't know much about the science behind running. Like, I leave that to my coach. But for myself, but only so I think a lot of it is mental. Like, I always think that I'll improve every year. And I mean, that's maybe a common thought to have. But if you actually believe it, I don't know. Like, I actually have never plateaued really. So maybe it's coming. I don't know. Maybe I'm just lucky. But like, I always think that if I run a year and then we say I don't do that well, I always find a reason. It's like, okay, maybe I was injured, or maybe, I don't know. Usually what it comes down to, it's been mental. I needed the progress to be like this. I've never really gone like this in my progress. It's just been slow up, and I've been really patient. So I think you have to at least convince yourself that you won't plateau. And let's say you do, I don't know. I think you can get out of it. Like, I think it's mental. But I don't want to be that person. Like, it's mental, and then maybe someone's like going through it, and then it's not mental. But I think you should always you improve every year. And I always assume every 3 weeks I improve. I was like things that I think in my head. And then if I'm not doing good in training for some reason, I'm not probably not recovering, or maybe I'm running my easy runs too hard. I always think there's a reason for things. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, in terms of
never plateaued really.
Well, in terms of improving, it looks like, and I may have read this wrong, but it looked like you just pretty recently set the indoor record mile for Sweden. Can you talk about that race and maybe like what felt differently about that race versus your other races?
I think this whole year, like that race was like my 3rd race of the year, I think. And I just had this like, I don't know, I had a different vibe going into races. I was like, I think I was just like tired of opening up a race. When you have the first race and maybe it's a bit slow and you're like, it was my opener, which can happen. It usually happens to me. but I stopped limiting myself mentally going into a race. Like I used to always have a time that I was gonna hit, and then maybe I would hit it and I'd be like, okay. But my coaches started being like, don't limit yourself. Just run. It sounds so simple, but it's really not. There's like, just run and see what happens. But if you actually try to do that, you might fail a few times. But I also think that makes it can like create this like jump in your performance. Because I've had that happen in that race where I went into it knowing I had the slowest PR in the field, and I kind of got into the race just like a wild card. Like I wasn't really supposed to be there. But I had this feeling that I was ready to run, and then I was just like, I'm not gonna care about who all these names are and these Olympians or whatever. I'm just gonna treat them as they're just runners, just like me. And I kind of went in with that attitude, and I just raced the people, like the runners that were there, and not like the names. And I didn't really let myself get intimidated, and I think that made me get the record because I knew I could do it, but then I had to do it too. And I think it was my mentality that made it happen, not the shape I was in or anything. Like I don't know. I think running is so mental. Even if you feel like you have a good mentality, I think sometimes you think you're good and you can actually improve it even more. That's how I felt like it was for me. Like I never felt like I had a bad mentality, but then this year I just have a better one, and then I think that made me run faster. Not just that I became physically faster.
So what are your goals now in running?
My goals are I guess I want to make every team that I can. Like that, whatever is coming at me, I'm like, I'm gonna make it. Kind of like that. I'm kind of vague when talking about my goals because I don't know. I don't want to get too stuck on something. Even I don't know. I just don't want to be limited. And when I was younger, I used to like share my goals. And then like if someone reacted a weird way, I like to be personally like, oh, when if they're like, can you really do that? So I don't really. It's my new thing is I don't share my goals anymore. I kind of keep them to myself. But I mean, my goals are just to run faster, basically, and stuff. Just see how far I can go, and just have fun with it. Even though it sounds cliche, like actually have fun with
it. Yeah, just see how good you can be.
Yeah.
So Yolanda, we have this. Our last question is the same question every time. This is our staple right here. So we need you to come through.
Okay.
What are your top 3 recommendations for young athletes?
Top 3. Okay. I know one. I would say, for young athlete, I would say, whatever you do every day that has something to do with your sport, always make it enjoyable. So we say you hate going to lift. Like I used to hate doing core. Try to make it fun, like bring music or something. Just try to enjoy every step of the way. That doesn't mean you have to be super pumped to be like, yeah, I want to go work out. But try to like, at least look forward to it. So maybe have your friend come with you and stuff. I would say that's the first one. To always have fun. Make sure you're always having fun. Because the moment you stop having fun, honestly, that's how many people will quit the sport. Because then it doesn't matter if you PR, if it's not fun, it's like. And then I would say be patient, very classic. But it's so true. Like people tell you be patient, and then really I don't think people are, and I think even coaches sometimes aren't patient. But if you actually are patient and you find a coach that is patient with you, you will succeed in the end. Because like it takes time to be good at something. So if you're not a youth star, it's okay. Like I never was one. And then I'm gonna say number 3, patient. I would say make I would say try not to compare yourself to other people and just focus on yourself. Because once you start comparing yourself, and even we say I compare myself to someone, if I win and then I compare myself to second place, it might make me feel good in the moment, but it's only temporary because next week that second place person might beat me, and then if I'm comparing myself, I'm gonna feel really bad about myself, even though maybe I came second with a PR. So I would say do your best not to compare yourself with people, because honestly, it's just gonna hurt you in the end. It's gonna make you happy sometimes, then it's gonna make you
Mhm.
unhappy. So it's not worth the temporary happiness. So,
Yeah, for sure. Great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
yeah,
And good luck to you the rest of the season and on.
yeah.
Good
Thank
luck.
you. Thanks for having me. Okay, bye bye.
Bye.